Well, hello there. This is Chuck Charlie Chaz from CGM3 Productions, and I am bringing out the media side of things. And this is a disclaimer: the views expressed does not reflect the views of anybody else in anywhere else. So please do not heckle. Do not criticize the way I feel right now. Please do not, you know, think of reasoning. And please really think of reasoning because of what I've had to say. In many years, and it started back, close to 1990. So we're talking 26, close to 36 years. I've been in broadcasting business, especially with amazing stations across the United States, from KNCI Sacramento all the way out here to WVOS in Liberty, WZAD in Wurtsboro, Middletown. But it all started in WHCR in Herkimer back from 19, and as a close campus radio station, WHCR, and then HCTV from 1986 to 1988. And then from 1988 to 1990, that's where I landed my first career in college radio at Buffalo State College, SUNY Buffalo State College. Now it's called Buffalo State University, to all know, and right off of Elmwood. And then right on the campus is a beautiful radio station called WBNY. WBNY is the original alternative for for Western New York, Buffalo, Canada, and the signal is immense, and their passion for alternative music, public affairs, news, and sports. Now, my main hunch, which was, basically dedicated to sports writing, sports and the home of the Bengals, by the way. Go Buff State Bengals, you got this. And always a Buff Stater, always a Bengal for life, always the black and orange. Yet, right across, not too far, in Orchard Park, I saw my very first Buffalo Bills game. Now, here's my point. This is where all this is going to lead. Now, in the beginning, I lived in the Catskills for many, many, many years, and I knew what the true New York State football team is. It's not the Metro Jets, Metro Giants, because now to really hear me out, those two, even though they practice in their respective, respective areas in the metropolitan area, but they play down in New Jersey. This team plays in Western New York State. That's why I believe in our state teams. And Buffalo has been there. So I think, from the dawning at the beginning, ever since the 1970s, it just woke me up, and it just made me realize, out of my 59 years of living, and coming up, like I said, my 59th birthday is coming up in March, so keep that in mind. Anyway, but I've seen those years of the Buffalo Bills of the 1970s, the 2-14, the 3-13, the 1-15, the 0-16, the days of Joe Ferguson, the relentless history of trying to get into playoffs, and then they start building. And by the way, fun fact, check your history for for football, because there was two professional football leagues in the 60s. You had the NFL, the National Football League, and the American Football League. The Buffalo Bills were in the American Football League back in the 1960s. Do you realize they won a couple championships from the AFL? Let me tell you something. That tells how quality of a team back in the day. And then, the rise of Joe Ferguson, the rise of these, many other, stars, which kind of slips my mind. But, here we go with Chemo Brain. By the way, just to let you know, this is a special one, before the 20th round. And it finally, I'm beginning to sink in of what's been happening. And then I start to see the Buffalo Bills mature in the 2 decades, the 1980s and the 1990s. 1980s, they've gotten better. Sure, they got into the 5-11s, the 6-10s, 9-7s, 8-8. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems so randomly of a building stage. Well, here comes the 1990s. Actually, I take that back. The late 80s into the 90s. You bring up Marv Levy. You bring up Jim Kelly. You bring up Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, Daryl Talley, the kicking squad, Scott Norwood, Frank Reich, Pete Metzelaars, the legends. They formatted and they created a one heck of a football squad for 4 years. Sure, I mean, the last time that they came so close, and it was funny because it was a divisional playoff that the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Bills, but yet the 49ers beat the Cincinnati Bengals in the 1990. But lo and behold, 1991, miracles do happen. Machine Gun Kelly and his squad took the team, took an amazing, football team to the Super Bowl 25, a game for the ages against those, against the Metro Giants. And then this is how we start saying the disciples of Parcells. And you know what? It's still, one of the best games. It was one of the best Super Bowls ever watched. And it was so gut wrenching. We thought the Bills would actually win their very first Super Bowl, but it turns out it was the game for the ages, and the Giants won that one. Okay. Next year was definitely Dallas Cowboys going back-to-back years, and then here comes Washington. And then it began to simmer a little low and everything else. But lo and behold, in the early 2000s, right up till now, you have an amazing coach by the name of Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, and some of these amazing players that really should have got their justification due. They should have got the right recognition in it all, Now, oh yeah, by the way, Bryce Pop is in there. A couple of other of these teammates, but this time, this team, the last 9 years, and I mean, really under McDermott's rule, they built character. They built perseverance. They built sportsmanship. They knew how to play the game. Each of the NFL teams did not like to play in the cold because of the winter. Well, let me tell you something. When you get up to Buffalo, it reminded me back in the 1960s, 1970s of what football was all about. You play in any other condition. You're always in a dome area. Play outdoors. Play in the snow. Play where there's, with it. There's no sunny days like, like in Miami. By the way, 1972, if you remember, Don Shula and his squad went, undefeated and won their Super Bowl. Fun fact. But we're talking about the here and now. No one wanted to come up to Buffalo because of the extreme pressures of the weather. Okay, I get that. But really, can I ask you something? Has the NFL gotten too soft? Has the players gotten too soft in playing in the weather? They shouldn't be, because it is a passionate game. This is how the kids today look up to their, mentors, their heroes. They look up to this. Sure, I mean, I still respect Sean Payton, but when he was, coaching down in New Orleans, got them a Super Bowl. Sure. But a few others, but, it was very, one way or another, it's the luck, Sure, what I've heard, and this year was definitely a very iffy season. Definitely a lot of heart attacks. There were a couple of key losses, which could have been resolved. But I think the NFL and the officiating, they should be cracking down on these officiating crews and saying, this is not good for you guys. You need to be suspended. You need to be retrained once again on the better plays. Did the ball bounce? Did the ball, was it an interception? Was it a catch? It was a catch this past Sunday. It wasn't an interception. It was a catch. And man, my heart and my stomach took a punch. And literally I felt for Josh and for the team because they came so close in overtime, no less, at Mile High Stadium. Yes, and I'll tell you something. The Bills are road warriors, keep in mind, in the playoffs for many, many years. But this is the first time in many years they are the road warriors. And they were pretty much successful. Sure, they actually had some divisional wins. They actually had some divisional championships. Yet you were by the Kansas Cities of the world to like the New Englands. And now look at these squads right now that were 2-14, 3-13, and then you build around like that. And then now it's like it's all brand new again. It's not. And this is where everything should be reconstructed. It should be, the NFL better really look into better rule changes, better, with this, and saying to the boys, play fair, be nice, persevere, and you hope for the best. And you give, you try to give, a definitive win for the team, for the city, for the state, and whatnot. Now, it's truly not Josh's fault. It's truly not Josh's fault at all. And it's truly, they gave it their heart and soul, and he does his 100%. And it's like, you can't give up after this. You build on for next year, for 2026, 2027. We're going to hope and pray that the Bills will be back, and they will be back. Mark my words. I hope to see the season next year because, like I said, this is my 20th round of chemo, and I'm more or less like a football player out there striving for another first down, striving for another touchdown. I'm using that as a metaphor. Yet to the coaches and what the Bills did, it made me really, it felt that sucker punch again. And I don't understand why the management would let such a classy individual like Sean McDermott go. They should have let, the offensive, the defensive, they should have had that taken care of. But to let the head coach go and being very vocal, and he knew what happened. They knew what happened. It was an unjust call. It was definitely something so distasteful. You see, this is why I'm glad I don't have, a big screen TV to watch the big game. Am I going to be seeing the championship and the Super Bowl and, the gallantry of the Pro Bowl? No, I'm done. I'll probably end up watching, hopefully, to get updates with the Buffalo Sabres, the Buffalo Bandits, and the Sacramento Kings. Those are the classy things, and these guys know how to do it right. Yet, I think I'm really dreaming about baseball. The spring's coming around very fast. And just just to enjoy it, to fully enjoy it, seeing 9 innings of baseball. Yet, for right now, I just couldn't post anything. I'm still in disbelief. still in shock. And, it's tough when you lose and when you fire a head coach like Sean McDermott. And to the Bills ownership, I am still, will always be, and I will always believe, because you got a Buffalo Bills fan in the Catskills in upstate New York, 8 hours away from Buffalo, but yet I'm only 2 hours away from the city. So what do? 8 hours. Okay? I'm still a Bills fan. Will always be that, a diehard. And that'll always be my testimony for that. As for the deal that happened this past weekend and the letter that I saw again today, and just seeing the doom scrolling on Facebook and, seeing it being this, and this, I'm like, first of all, make sure you get your facts together. Don't jump the gun. Don't do the rumors, and don't heckle. Because let me tell you something. What if I had the right to heckle your team like that one person in Jacksonville? And I shut him up, because let me tell you something. The Bills have a history. Jacksonville has been in there for a couple of years. This is what really gets me with the expansion teams. They only played for a few years, and yet you're talking about a team that's been in the NFL, in the AFL, and the NFL for 60 plus years. Okay? They have a legacy. They will be legends in my heart and soul. I've seen what's happening in that much. And for the 9+ years with Sean McDermott, Sean, Coach, thank you from the bottom of my heart. My heart's broken. And I wish you had another year. I wish you had a couple years with the Bills, because that was your baby. That was your timing. Okay? And it hits me. It hits me every time. Sure, there's the Marv Levy's of the world and a couple of other coaches, but McDermott, you're one of the best coaches ever. Okay? And you stood up for your team. You stood up for the city. And that's why I applaud you for your perseverance, your sportsmanship, and what you say is so true. So, on that note, Sean, all I have to say is, and to Sean, best of luck of your endeavors. Truly, I hope you do come back to Buffalo. But with and obviously with the change mindset. And to the Bills organization, to the top brass, make the right choice for a better coach, for a better head coach. Have that discipline, have that winning mentality. Make sure you have the game together. Because it's not depends on the one person. It depends on all 11 of them. 11-man offense, 11-man defense, comes up with one unit. You defend the city. You defend the new, whatever you have to do. So to the top branches, make that wise choice. And again, my question to you, to the Buffalo Bills organization, truly think about it. Was it truly the wise choice of letting Sean McDermott go? And I say this again to Sean, Coach McDermott, thank you for a decent season. Decent, okay? It could have been a little bit better, but that's beside the point. And best of luck on your endeavors. And again, my football game is defeating cancer in the ass, cancer in the butt. I got my 20th round coming up. Let's make it happen. And to the Bills fans across the United States, New York State, and everywhere you're here and close to, into my beloved Catskills, always next year, don't give up. Don't ever give up. Have patience. Be perseverant. Our time will come to lift that Vince Lombardi trophy together. And again, this is Charlie Chaz from CGM3 Productions. Have an amazing day. God bless to you all. God bless Sean McDermott. Thank you, Sean. And we'll chat soon.